Welcome back to another episode of 161st and River, a special right before the snowstorm edition. And we're going to talk for about 15-20 minutes before I have to travel before the snow begins about some starting rotation options. And we'll start with a minor league signing the Yankees made, as I was prepping graphics for this. So we'll briefly talk about that. And then we'll get into 4 rotation options for the Yankees available on the trade market. So let's first start with this. The Yankees have signed Dylan Coleman, a right-hander, to a minor league deal with an invite to spring training. I believe, I'm going to look this up as we're talking, Coleman should project as a reliever for the Yankees. And he kind of has the Matt Blake, I guess, arsenal that Blake has done a lot of magic with. He did not pitch in 2025. Probably injured. Yeah, it looks like he was a reliever. Reliever. So his best year was 2022 with Kansas City. He went 5-2 with a 2.78 ERA. 2023, he was in 18 innings. He was 0-2 with an 8.84 ERA. He had a good year in 21 as well. And then 24, he pitched an inning, didn't give up a run, and I'm assuming probably had Tommy John. I'm going to look up this guy's injury numbers. He was in the Orioles organization last year, I believe. Probably played the end of the year with them, and then is now a free agent and in the Yankee system. So definitely an option for the Yankees. They should still be looking. Yeah, he was in AAA with the Orioles. Did not pitch well there. Wait, hold on. That's not ERA. He still did not pitch well there. He was 1-0 with an 8.10 ERA. AA, he was fine. That was towards the end of this past season. Okay. So we'll see what he does. It's probably like a complete nothing burger. He could also come into spring training, look solid. Maybe Matt Blake fixes something, screw around and make the bullpen. Because they did option Caleb Ort. Not option. They designated Caleb Ort for assignment. Okay, he was probably going to be nothing anyway, but he was at least an intriguing option with upside, but that's gone. So now, let's make popcorn. Let's look at some 4 options of starting pitchers the Yankees can possibly trade for. The first is going to be from the in-division from the Tampa Bay Rays, and I'll post these 4 on Instagram later. The first is Drew Rasmussen from the Tampa Bay Rays. This past season, he was 10-5 with a 2.76 ERA. He's a really good pitcher. In his career, he's 30-17 with a 2.89 ERA. I don't know if he's available or not. That goes for pretty much everyone on this list. I mean, I'm sure we can kind of guess with certain guys if they're available or not. I don't know definitively if he is. But the Rays are kind of in sell mode. And with how the AL East projects right now in terms of talent, in terms of there's 4 teams in this division that are probably going to make the postseason or that could make the postseason, and the Rays are kind of in the outside looking into that. They might take this as an opportunity of, okay, well, the past 2 years we've struggled a bit. Maybe we'll take the full step back and do what the Rays do best and rebuild a little bit. I don't know that for a fact. I'm saying that could be a good option for them, and trading Drew Rasmussen for assets, That could be enticing for them. He would be enticing for the Yankees. He was an all-star. He's a Cy Young caliber rotation option. I really like Rasmussen. I don't know if it's realistic though, because I don't know if the Rays would trade within division, especially a starter of this caliber. But he's definitely on the list on this offseason. A little bit more about Rasmussen here. He finished 9th in AL Cy Young voting. He does have an injury history. But he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. With a for 2 assets. Look what they got for Boz with the Orioles. But, the cost of winning a championship, as I always say, is a lot, right? These prospects, as I always say, are lottery tickets. You don't know how they're going to pan out, but they could be great. They could be, a superstar. They could also get up and be, Oswald Peraza. He's the perfect example. How long did we hear Peraza's the next best thing? Peraza. They bring him up, and Peraza stunk. And then they ended up trading him for a cash just to get him off the roster. Or else they would have cut him. He's not good. So while the Yankees love to hug their prospects, and I do expect Jason Dominguez to be traded, with that being said, they love to hug their prospects, the Yankees do. This is a case where you don't. This is a case where you deal for a starter, anyone on this list, really. I mean, there are certain guys on this list that Dominguez should not be traded for because, or there's at least one guy on this list Dominguez should not be in a deal for unless a reliever or something else is coming back. But Rasmussen, very good option. The next option, and I know the Reds have said we don't know, but the Reds are also a team that if they can get a decent asset back to help them in other areas, they would do it. So Nick Lodolo, I wrote a story about Lodolo earlier in the offseason, and in this story I wrote how well he would do in an environment like Yankee Stadium based on his projected statistics. He at Great American Ballpark, which is a bandbox, for lack of better words. Cincinnati is a complete bandbox. The ball just flies out of there. And compared to that, Yankee Stadium is, Texas compared to that. So, yeah. So I think his numbers would significantly get better in Yankee Stadium based on projections. Home runs might go up a little bit, but doubles and triples and all that would go down. So those would even out. He would be a very good fit. He comes with 2 more seasons of control. So the Yankees looking for a cost-controlled starter, it will fit there. He's not making too much money this year and probably next year. That would be a good option. It might cost a little bit more because of all that, but you know what? Like I keep saying, the cost of winning is a lot. If you want to win a championship with Aaron Judge in this window, the best way to do it is to continue to bolster up your starting pitching by adding one of these 4. We spoke about Rasmussen, we're talking about Lodolo, and keep going. 29 games this season, 156 innings, about a strikeout per inning, a 1.08 whip, which is fantastic. This is a really good option. He makes almost every start. He missed like 3 starts this year. Yes, in his career, there have been a little bit of an injury history, but I think this is a great option for the Yankees. The only thing I don't love about Lodolo, and it's nothing he can help or the Yankees can fix, it's that he's a lefty. And the Yankees right now have Fried, Rodon, Weathers, they have Yarborough in the bullpen, all that could make starts that are lefties. Adding another one to that, I don't know if it's something that the Yankees don't like. I've always thought that Yankee left-handers play better at Yankee Stadium. The American League East has been a bugaboo of lefties. Like the AL East has kind of hit lefties a little bit over the past few years. That shouldn't be a deterrent for the Yankees to go out and get a left-hander. It shouldn't. Because at the end of the day, he's going to make your team better. Not every start's against the American League East. And last year was a very unique circumstance in the postseason where the Yankees had to get through the AL East. I think they beat Seattle if they got through the Blue Jays, and they couldn't get through the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays did hit left-handers last year, and part of that was Bo Bichette. Now, they didn't need Bo Bichette to beat us, right, as we know. But the Blue Jays also, I don't know how much better they are this year than last. I don't know if Ernie Clement is going to be Ernie Clement like he was last year. That could have been an outlier season. I don't know. I'm certainly not banking that Ernie Clement is going to be the superstar. We'll see. But I think Lodolo is a solid option, and I think he could be gettable at the right price. Another pitcher that could be very gettable for the Yankees is lefty, again, Kris Bubic. Bubic is on an expiring deal. This is his last year, but man, the numbers are good when he's on the field and when he's healthy, which is a concern with probably every starter, except for the last one we'll talk about. Man, Bubic's nasty. 8-7 last year with a 2.55 ERA. I don't know how you lose 7 games and have a 2.55. Those must be games where he gave up a run or two and the Royals couldn't score. That would be my guess. 20 games, 116 innings, 116 strikeouts, a 1.18 whip. Really good southpaw option for the Yankees. The Royals are trying to compete, but they have an outfield deficiency in a very big way. Jason Dominguez could be moved in this deal. Like if you were to get Bubic and maybe some other reliever on their roster, make it a little bit of a bigger package for them, that might be enticing to Kansas City. They're not going to be able to re-sign him. Cole Reagans has a big contract already. I don't know what their starting pitching situation is, but I've heard Bubic's name mentioned. So, like directly, of like, could Bubic be an option? Who knows? And I'm like, Bubic. I'm like, that was interesting. And I'm like, huh. So I started to dig into Bubic a little bit. I kind of liked what I saw with him. I like Kris Bubic a lot. I think that this would be a very good option for them. Again, it's going to cost a lot. The Yankees tapped out of the Freddie Peralta sweepstakes because they were asking for Lombard. I probably wouldn't have paid Lombard for him either. I'll be honest. I definitely wouldn't pay the package Detroit asked or rumored to have asked or whatever the situation was, because what Heyman said was like, kind of like, I heard they could have asked. No, they did ask, okay? They did ask. And others have confirmed that. They asked for Lombard, Schlittler, Rice, among others, for Tariq Skubal. Skubal's good. He ain't that good. Or Skubal's great, I should say. But the Yankees can't kill their farm, and we know they're not going to re-sign him. So that's why they're not doing that. And Freddie Peralta, I mean, look at what they got back. Now, Mackenzie Gore, that's a different story. The Yankees probably could have matched that package. I wasn't in love with Mackenzie Gore, at all. I think that there's a legit injury history there. I think I think with Tommy John waiting to happen. I just didn't think he would be great in a big market. Something just tells me, I don't know. The final option the Yankees can probably, I mean, there's obviously more that we're not thinking of, but Robert Murray mentioned him on the Fanside podcast last night. Brady Singer kind of went out of his way of like, well, Brady Singer could be an option for them. He's the one, and I agree with him and the co-host Adam. Jason Dominguez cannot be in a deal for Brady Singer unless it's like a much bigger deal. That can't happen. But the Reds do have an outfield need. I could see, unless it's like literally a 1-for-1. Brady Singer, he was 14-12 with a 4.03 ERA. He's an innings eater. He makes every start. Maybe not so much of an innings eater, but he makes every start. 163 strikeouts and 169 2/3 innings. He's someone who could thrive in a big market, who could thrive in an environment that fosters winning. I think the one game the Yankees won in Cincinnati was against Singer last year, and like we kind of got into him a little bit. He's a very solid starter. If the Yankees are looking for quality for like a top line starter, Singer isn't your option. If the Yankees are looking for a body to have in the bottom of the rotation for the entire season, that, hey, you're confident in giving them the ball, Brady Singer's a good option for that. It's not going to cost a lot of prospects. It's not going to cost a lot of money. He's a free agent after the year, so it's essentially a one-year deal. I could be talked into it. Would it excite me as much as the other three? No. But Brady is a righty. Opening the season, it would put him probably as the fifth starter for the entire year because it would put Weathers in the bullpen, or the fourth starter and Warren the fifth. Your opening season rotation with him would be Fried, Schlittler, Heel, Singer, and Warren. Actually sounds good. Then obviously Rodon would come back and someone will go to the bullpen or to AAA, Warren. And then Cole will come back and someone will go to the bullpen like Heel. If I were them, I would try and do this and then just put Heel in the bullpen from the get-go and then figure it out. I think that this is a solid option. I think Cincinnati wouldn't balk at the idea to deal Singer to the Yankees. This one's solid. But the Yankees cannot be content with the team that is right now. That's the bottom line. They were talking to teams about starters. They are still talking to teams about starters. They obviously have aspirations. Look, the offense is the offense, and I think the offense is fine. I think the offense has the ability to be one of the best offenses in baseball, if not the best again, right? You're going to have a full season of a platoon between McMahon and Rosario at third. When most of the season last year, 2/3 of it, I'll say, you had Peraza or Cabrera. I'm sorry, I would rather have McMahon/Rosario than Peraza at third, and I think a full year of that's going to help. I think a full year of Ben Rice getting everyday reps at first base is going to help because remember, for a while Goldschmidt was starting, and then they started to transition away from that, and the team got better as they did. I think if Austin Wells is fully healthy, I have my doubts about him being fully healthy last year. I think the offense is going to be very good this year. The pitching staff is where I worry. I think you add one of these four starters on the list, your rotation's automatically better because of the additions that will come back. And I'm sorry, they're a legit proven starter. All four starters on this list are proven, right? Ryan Weathers, I think, is going to be very good for the Yankees. I think he's much better served in the bullpen, though, than in the rotation. That's just me. But all four of these guys are proven starters. Then you get to the bullpen, and I'm going to do a separate episode on that at some point. As we were on here, my campus was pretty much closed for Monday and classes and all that. So I'll have ample time Monday to plan this and do an episode I really do think that the Yankees' best course of action is to add at least a reliever, not Dylan Coleman, but add like an actual reliever, and add another starter. We'll see what they do. There's time before spring training, but starters and relievers are always moved during spring training, so that's not a huge concern. I mean, it's a concern though. You want to have a plan. And Jorge Castillo of ESPN, and as much as it was a predictions article, which it was, might have been some truth to what he was saying. I'll leave that there. With the Jason Dominguez could be traded before spring training. It's not that hot of a take, and there might be truth to it. That's going to be it for today's episode of Rotation Options for the Yankee season. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Have a great day. Stay safe in the snow if you're wherever you are, but especially here in New York. Stay safe and have a great day. Go Yankees.